Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV, and here's the story. It's the State Department's Global Engagement Center, the GEC, which the Obama administration created from the already offensive clay of its Center for Strategic Counterterrorism Communications in March of 2016. Running simultaneously with the equally offensive Portman-Murphy Countering Foreign Propaganda Act that Rhino then-Senator Bob Portman, Republican of Ohio, and hardcore leftist Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat of Connecticut, pushed to passage the same year. Yes, the GEC has been a Goliath attacking freedom of speech ever since. We at MRC-TV have been sounding the alarms about it for years, explaining to Americans that the GEC and Portman-Murphy have sucked away our money to try to censor us and to spread their own government message through government-favored organizations, activities that fit more comfortably on the bones of the Soviet Union than they do on a constitutional republic that supposedly has clear barriers the feds aren't supposed to cross and which purportedly exist to protect our rights. So it took many years, many MRC-TV articles, and many excellent pieces by journalists such as Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger to expose to a wider audience that the GEC always has been a fascist government parasite that takes our money and funnels it into corporate tentacles to silence us and promote statist propaganda. Right now, that GEC insanity is set to stop. But the GEC is not the only propaganda arm of the slimy beast, and some feds hint that they will try to drive GEC-like censorship along other routes. The Post-Millennial reports, quote, the U.S. State Department's Global Engagement Center, GEC, which Republicans have accused of censoring U.S. citizens, has been shuttered due to a lack of funding. A State Department spokesperson told Fox News in a statement, the Global Engagement Center will terminate by operation of law by the end of the day on December 23, 2024. The Department of State has consulted with Congress regarding next steps. The last sentence of which sets off mental alarm bells for anyone who knows the perfidious ways the deep state, intel, and other big government interests work to perpetrate their underhanded schemes. One look at the continuation of the Ministry of Truth, aka the Disinformation Governance Board, after Nina Jankowicz departed,
slightly less atrocious,
and after most Americans thought it had been shut down, offers a classic example of this pattern. And it might be worthwhile to remember that not all Republicans opposed the GEC. Speaker Mike Johnson saw to it that his original version of the wondrous Omnibus included funding for the GEC. $61 million in funding for the 120-person agency was reportedly included in the original Continuing Resolution, CR, to fund the government beyond Friday's deadline, but conservatives shot down that iteration of the spending bill after Elon Musk and Donald Trump spoke out against it, and the rewritten version did not include money for the GEC. During debate on the spending bill last week, Senator Eric Schmidt said, "This is an entity that is funded to censor conservatives. We should not be doing any of this stuff." Lawmakers have argued that GEC went beyond its mission of proactively addressing foreign adversaries' attempts to undermine U.S. interests using disinformation and propaganda by attempting to censor American citizens, per the New York Post. Curiously, it wouldn't matter if the GEC strictly held to that notion of proactively addressing foreign adversaries' attempts to undermine U.S. interests, because first, the U.S. is not in any declared war, so technically, constitutionally, the U.S. has no adversaries, and the use of the term is just politically manipulated, malleable balderdash that can serve their purposes for virtually anything. Second, even if one wanted to see the feds engage in so-called proactive propaganda and censorship as well against foreign nation states, well, the Constitution doesn't allow that. Of course, we're talking about DC Congress and DC functionaries, and very few of them care about their oaths to uphold the Constitution. Adds the post-millennial, quote, "The GEC funded a secret list of subcontractors and helped pioneer an insidious and idiotic new form of blacklisting during the pandemic," journalist Matt Taibbi wrote in the Twitter files. Last year, he exposed that the GEC flagged accounts as Russian personas and proxies based on criteria such as describing the coronavirus as an engineered bioweapon, blaming research conducted at the Wuhan Institute, and attributing the appearance of the virus to the CIA. He noted that the State Department also flagged accounts that retweeted news that Twitter banned the popular US website Zero Hedge, claiming that it led to another flurry of disinformation narratives. But it didn't stop there. The GEC also partnered with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, and the National Security Agency, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, the Special Operations Command, and the Department of Homeland Security. A 2024 report from the Republican-led House Small Business Committee slammed the agency for awarding grants to organizations whose work includes tracking domestic misinformation and rating the credibility of US-based publishers. Yes, that would be NewsGuard, about which we at MRC-TV have been reporting for years and which has directly attacked MRC-TV through its unscrupulous, federally subsidized method of sending us letters about our work being problematic and possibly seeing MRC-TV flagged by NewsGuard, which would have a bearing on MRC-TV's financial health. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, the Daily Wire, and the Federalist sued the State Department, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and other Biden officials earlier this month for engaging in a conspiracy to censor, deplatform, and demonetize American media outlets disfavored by the federal government, claiming that the GEC was used as a tool for the Biden administration to carry out its censorship, and describing the agency as one of the most egregious government operations to censor the American press in the history of the nation. Kudos to those plaintiffs and to Ken Paxton, but sadly, AG Paxton doesn't seem to fully grasp the problem, which is not outcome-based. It's based on principles and what the Constitution says, not what Congress invents without regard to the Constitution. We can see his error right here. Quote, "The Texas Attorney General's office said in a press release, Congress authorized the creation of the Global Engagement Center expressly to counter foreign propaganda and misinformation. Instead, the agency weaponized this authority to violate the First Amendment and suppress Americans' constitutionally protected speech." The very premise, that idea that a U.S. government agency can define foreign propaganda, well, that lays out the discontinuity in the AG's thinking. If a government agency can claim the power to label what it wants as foreign propaganda, they claim the power to censor through arbitrary adumbration. And the First Amendment doesn't merely prohibit Congress from abridging the right of Americans' speech. It prohibits Congress from abridging the right of free speech in principle, which means it applies to all speech, whether it comes from Moscow, Russia, Moscow, Idaho, or anywhere else. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe. Find us on Rumble, where they don't censor us. Yes, Mr. Paxton, they don't censor us. You can also find us on YouTube where they do censor us. And this is only a small quibble that I have with Attorney General Paxton. He has been on the right side of this, and engaging that lawsuit has produced something good. So, at least. And people are talking about it, which is good. You can also find us on Facebook where, yes, everybody is very busy chatting inside the Facebook group. It's always busy there. Find us at MRCTV.org. That's MRCTV.org. And of course, find us on TikTok, on Instagram, and on X. And on Gab, you can find me as at Gardner Goldsmith. And on X, I'm at Gard Goldsmith. Check out the MRC TV site. And please consider donating to the Media Research Center. And share the videos. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.